This is the new Porsche 911 GT3 992.2 generation. And this is the new 911 GT3 Touring. Ooh, look. A gurney flap. There are some key upgrades to both these cars over the 992.1 generation, and I'll reveal all of them in this video. I'll also speak to the man in charge of Porsche's GT division, Andreas Preuninger.
What?
And get his valuable insight into these cars and the future of sports cars at Porsche. The new GT3 is going to be a hybrid. Porsche fans have been feverishly discussing and speculating over these cars online for months now, and we'll be getting Andreas' opinion on all the rumours. Are they true or not? Ooh. Hopefully, despite all the emissions regulations, Porsche has been able to keep exactly what customers have loved about this car, but also answered some of their questions to improve them. We'll find out in this video. I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching Car Wow. So I'm going to start this video by talking to Andreas about some of the rumours, of which there have been many about this car online. So what I'd like to do is list out some of the rumours and just get your facial expression. So we're not going to give the game away yet, we just want to see what you think of the rumours. First one, the new GT3 is going to be a hybrid. They're going to increase the displacement to 4.2 litres because when he went from 997.1 to 2, it went from 3.6 to 3.8. Then 991 went from 3.8 to 4 litre, so 4.2, right? We're going to get digital dials instead of an analogue tachometer. It's going to get the same gear ratios as in the ST. You're going to get new carbon panels and some lightweight package this time. There's going to be a Weissach pack for a GT3. And the big one for me, back seats in the Touring. Anyway, right. Now we'll come back to all of those and we'll answer all of those in this video. But let's start off with the most pertinent question. So Andreas, the big thing that everyone was worried about with this car was that it was going to go hybrid.
I imagine there's been big challenges with the new emission regulations, and for a high revving non-turbo engine with more than 500 horsepower, this is really a challenge. To keep the GT3 as a GT3 should be, and by the way, it's still our race engine, by changing the cylinder heads, by putting in hotter cams, by changing the exhaust, by changing the intake, putting in modified and modernized single valve throttle bodies that flow better. We found a way to keep the 510 horsepower stable. We kept the car at 4 liters displacement. Why did we do that? Because at 4.2 or 4.4 or even more, with a bigger bore, we couldn't meet emissions. And it just was not necessary because the power package as it was in the 92 GT3, which by the way was the most successful GT3 to date. I think we were right at the spot where GT3 should be. To compensate a little bit and to have a little bit of an extra for our customers, we looked at the gearbox and we said, hey, why not making it shorter? With the ST, we learned how much more performance, how much more smiles this engine produces when you have a shorter gearing in the car. So we put the shorter gearing on the PDK and the manual. It still revs to 9,000, and with the hotter cams, it revs from 5 to 9 even more ferociously than it did before.
The hotter cams, are those the ones from the GT3 RS and the ST then?
That's right.
So that car, I noticed, it just spins a bit hard at the top end, doesn't it? Now, I remember meeting you on the ST launch. We were talking about the emissions regulations and there was some discussions with like the German government and the European government, and it was all a bit kind of moving around.
Yeah.
Have you guys like kind of got this car out? Let's get it out quick before the emissions are going to just knacker us for good?
It's still an EU6 car, but it's a lot stricter EU6 than it has been before on the ST or on the predecessor of this car. And there's a EU7 in discussion at the moment, which will be coming in 2 years maybe, but it's not fixed yet. It's going to be at the end of this year, so we're curious.
Could that just end this engine?
Never say never. I'm like 007 here.
Are the acceleration figures slightly better, slightly worse? Where are you at with those?
On paper, it's almost the same than last time, but when you drive it, it feels a lot faster, and it is between the curves, because you've got more pulling power because the revs are higher.
You listen to your customers quite a lot, don't you, when like deciding what to do when changing between model years? There's a couple of big changes that you've made to this car, the Touring. In response to customers, was it the most asked question?
Absolutely. I got heaps of letters and emails, people asking me, hey, why can't I take my kids?
Because you get in trouble if you just go on your own.
And we thought, let's do something for the youth. We listened, and the Touring will be optional now with 4 seats, so you can take your 2 kids. And by that, we can have enthusiastic kids, and they love Porsches, from the early days. Of course, they sat in the back and having a 9,000 RPM engine screaming at them. Maybe there will be future customers.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very good point. Do you know what I'm going to have to do? I know it's not meant really for adults, but I'm going to try out the back seats because this is a first, right? Okay. I'm going to get into the back seats.
And there's one precondition
in
for
a
that.
Porsche GT car, yeah, and this new feature, so the sports seats, the carbon fibre sports seats, first time ever, foldable.
Now you've got access to the rear.
And importantly, look, there's ISOFIX anchor points there, so you can fit a baby seat. This is a bit silly, but I am in the back seats of a Porsche 911 GT3. Now, a lot of people have done this conversion themselves, haven't they? But now you've homologated the car.
Yeah.
How hard is it to have done this? It's not just a case of putting in some rear seats, and actually they're all right.
Putting in the seats is nothing, and this is definitely not the problem. But when you have a four-seater car, you have to fulfill all the regulations for a four-seater as well. So you have to test the car with 4 grown-up persons. So you have to look at the suspension, you have to look at if the tires can take it at full speed with 150 kilo more. I mean, this is all the things that you have to homologate, and this is quite 80%, I would say, of all the work. It's not putting the seats in.
But it's good that they're now available, and I think pretty much every Touring is going to have these back seats, right? Why would you not fit a Touring with the back seats?
It's an option, so you can have the Touring.
How much weight did they add then? It's not going to be much, right, though,
It's not much, and maybe it's 5-6 kilos, something like that, I would guess.
Take the penalty, because just having the flexibility of the back seats is
and you
incredible.
can fold them down to carry stuff around.
Yeah, so it's just,
so it's maybe better to put your sport bag or duffel bag on it. So really? And this was really a huge request from the customer side. So, and actually the driving factor to make these new seats, because we thought a GT3 has to have a bucket seat, because that's where you get all the feeling from, where you have the connection with the car, and we wouldn't take that away from somebody that was taking his kids on the weekend.
Can you get the ISOFIX on the bucket seat?
Yes, and we offer them heated as well.
Heated?
For the ones that want the heating system in the bucket, they get one. It has another gimmick up his sleeve. When you wear a helmet, you can plug out the headrest to offer some more package space for the rear of your helmet, because then mostly you're bumping around all the time because there's space lacking, because there's additional room that you need, and here's the room that you need.
Yeah, because you do notice that in the current car with your helmet's a little bit pushed forward there. Yeah. I'm telling you, hardly anyone is going to have the standard seat now, because the reasons for having the standard seat over the bucket seat are all gone pretty much. Now, one of the things I found really interesting was that the GT3 RS actually drives slightly better, believe it or not, on UK roads. It deals with bumps better. And then when you get in the ST, which has the same suspension as the standard GT3 Touring, but it's just been reprogrammed, it's like on another level again. What have you guys done to the suspension on this 992.2 GT3? Yeah,
with the ST we learned an awful lot on the suspensions. And we found out that we could use this kind of programming strategy as well on the GT3 and on the Touring. Actually wanted to make a different setup for the Touring than for the wing car.
Oh, so
that was originally the plan, to put this more into the ST corner and this one more on the racetrack, but we found out that even if we tuned the dampers to be more compliant on normal B roads, we didn't lose on the track. So that gave us the opportunity to use the same setup for both cars. So both cars benefited from the experience we made with the ST. Through programming of this new kind of dampers, we could really broaden the bandwidth of usability of the car.
There's been plenty of discussion about the Gen 1 cars. I mean, Porsche says that the suspension settings is the same in the Touring as the wing car. Exactly the same. And people would drive and go, actually, it doesn't feel like it's the same. Is that just in their own? Okay, right. And then with this car, you're thinking of doing them different and basically using the ST setup on the Touring, but you just decided to put it on this car as well.
Exactly.
And so they are, so listen, the man says they're the same.
It's the best of all worlds here, and it's not a compromise. It doesn't feel compromised now. It just got better.
So now the
and
GT...
to tell you what, on the ST, we had one guy doing the calibration work of the dampers for almost a year.
Actually, on the ST launch, we drove the cars where you were testing them. So it's like, it's twisty roads somewhere in Italy, pretty bad quality in places.
That's why we went there.
That's why you went there. And this is one guy like there with his laptop for a year, but that's the fruits of his labor. And now it's gone into this car. Both versions of it as well. Are there any changes to the suspension setup like that you've taken from maybe the GT3 RS or the ST?
We use hardware of the GT3 RS, this teardrop shaped control arms that we have in there that contribute to the downforce of the car. Believe it or not, at top speed it's 40 kilos of downforce additionally.
And do you have that on the Touring as well as the wing car?
Yes. We improved the brakes and we improved the brake cooling. On the front calipers we're using bigger pistons now, although they look the same. This is a magnesium wheel with breakthroughs. It's really super light, and even the normal standard aluminum wheels lost 1.7 kilos for the whole car.
So obviously these are the carbon brakes. Do you have bigger pistons on the steel brakes as well?
Absolutely. Went up in diameter to 32 millimeters now.
And the discs, are the discs the same size as they were in the Gen 1
The discs
car?
are 410s and 4.5s like in the last car as well. But on the steel rotor, we added some width, so less prone to warping and last longer on the track.
Now, Andreas will probably scoff at this, but I think you have to be the most famous car engineer guy of all the car manufacturers.
Oh, come on.
Basically, if someone wants to find out about you and they go on Google and they start typing in your name, you get like prompted searches, the most common searches. Now, the top one is Andreas Preuninger Wikipedia. Have you got a Wikipedia page?
I don't know my Wikipedia page.
We'll find out. The next one, Andreas Preuninger salary.
What? It depends on the success I have with the car. So
Well, you're doing all right at the moment. So
it differs.
probably good.
But
right.
I'm happy.
And then the next one, Andreas Preuninger height.
6'4".
So can you sit in the car okay with a helmet on your head?
Absolutely.
The next one is Andreas Preuninger age, and you don't have to answer it because
I'm 58 now. This job I'm doing since 2000, so almost 25 years now. It was 25 cars I did in my career so far. It's a 26th, by the way.
And it's all the best Porsches as well, isn't it?
Well, some people like them. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is interesting. So it's Andreas Preuninger break-in. Now, I don't think people are referring to the fact that you've been burgled. I think it's your braking procedure for the engine, because if you look in the manual, I think it just says drive it below 7,000 RPM for something like 500 miles or something like that. But you told me a specific braking procedure that you use, so I used it on my car. Can you just tell us what that is?
What's written in the owner's manual is correct. So follow that. You always have to think when you run and brake in a car, it doesn't like load at first. So high load, that means getting the pedal all the way down at low revs. Okay. This is what hurts an engine most. It's not high revs, it's more the load at low revs. And for the first 500-600 kilometers or 200-400 miles, I really would take it very easy, part throttle only, shift up below 5,000 or around 5,000 latest, warm your engine properly, and then you almost can drive it normally. But you shouldn't take your car straight from the dealer to a track day, for example.
People have done that.
After 500 or 700 miles, I go up gradually with the revs and do that for at least 1,500, 2,000 miles, and then drive it like you stole it.
Rev it all the way! Ah, yeah! Right, so the next one is Andreas Preuninger wife.
Wife, yeah, I'm married.
Yeah.
Thank my wife for all the patience she has with me doing this job.
And the fact that you can't, during those 17 years, take your child in the car in the back.
I could understand some customers so well that got to us and said, hey, I need 4 seats in the Touring.
The final one, Andreas Preuninger cars.
I own a 993 convertible. Then I have a Dodge Ram,
which is a big, heavy car. One of the things about this GT3, obviously with emission regs and stuff like that, is that there is a risk that the weight is going to increase. So let's find out about that now. Now, in order to meet the emissions regulations that we've already talked about, this new car has 4 catalytic converters, doesn't it, as opposed to 2?
Yeah, that's correct.
That adds weight.
There's another legislational change when it comes to car safety. So we had to strengthen the body in white on some portions, and there was another 4 kilos all around the car. And the new seats are a little bit heavier as well. But we could compensate that by offering the lightweight package for the Touring or the Weissach package for the winged GT3 car.
Okay, so let's have a look at that now. So here we are with the wing car, the GT3. So first things first, you've got a new look front end here. Thankfully, you don't have the slats like on the GTS. I'm not a big fan of those personally. I must say, I still think I prefer the Gen 1 front end.
Yeah, okay. It looks a little bit sharper. It's aerodynamically a little bit raised, so we don't have the turning light signals anymore in the front end.
Because they're now in the headlights, aren't they?
Exactly. We have additional brake cooling. We have a different airflow under the car with a lot of more fins and cooling the gearbox and cooling the drive shafts even. It's got a bigger lip here and it's supported by 4 cables to be able to be very stiff and not change the aerodynamical values on the speed when the thing is going to be pressed down. It looks different as well when you're not going with the Weissach pack. You can have this part in exterior color or you can have it in black.
And classic GT3 with the vents here in the bonnet. But like you said, this is Weissach with the exposed carbon fiber. I like this design. I'm not the biggest fan of on my 3RS. I'm not so keen on the bonnet.
It is a lot going on, but for functional reasons, definitely. But we wanted to not show too much carbon fiber On the base Weissach package on that car, we thought that striped is doing a great job.
So what do you get as part of this new GT3 Weissach pack?
The visible carbon fiber, you get the carbon fiber roof, which on a normal GT3 is aluminum. You get the carbon fiber parts on the rear wing, you got the mirrors in carbon fiber, they're 140 grams lighter, by the way. You got the interior with the race tag, lithium-ion battery that is around 4 kilos lighter than the predecessor's battery. We saved some weight in the carpentry, about 2 kilos. You have these carbon fiber stabilizers and the rear shear plate that's alone 4.5 kilos on the underbody on the suspension, like on the GT3 RS. Yeah. You get the magnesium wheels that we see here on the car.
Are they included in the pack, or are they extra?
They're not included in the pack, but you can only order them along with the pack. So there's 2 packs, one is without the wheels and one is with the wheels.
For the road, would you have magnesium?
Yeah.
Now then, when you factor in all those savings, such as that for the Weissach pack, and you compare the old car, how you could spec it, and the new car, they're pretty much identical in terms of weight, aren't they? You can spec the Weissach.
Yeah. The lightest possible car is at 1,420 kilos with gas.
Yeah.
It's 2 kilos more so than the last car on paper, but it's nothing.
Okay, so you've got a lot of the bits from the GT3 RS on this Weissach
lots
pack.
of ideas. They're not the same parts,
okay,
but they're the same ideas behind it. Yeah.
One thing that the GT3 RS doesn't have, but this does have, carbon fiber wingtips, which look so much better than the plastic.
This is part of the Weissach package as well.
Why weren't they on the 3RS?
Yeah, but progress.
You have to keep a bit back, don't you?
And they're about 200 grams lighter than the painted versions if you have them in carbon fiber on the Weissach pack as well.
What's different here at the rear compared to the previous generation car? This light bar looks different.
Yeah, it's a Gen 2 light bar, and it's got bigger vents here, ventilating the rear wheel wells.
And real vents, no fakery here at Porsche.
There's no fake. We had this discussion on fake vents. Right, There's not a fake vent here. We've got a bigger diffuser.
It looks more aggressive.
I really like it better than the old car.
It looks more aggressive.
I'm kind of with you maybe on the front, but the back is definitely more attractive.
I like this bit.
It's for ventilating the engine.
The problem is though, it looks awesome, but so too does the Touring. Let's check that out. Do you know what, Andreas? On this Touring, you really notice the redesigned lower bumper and these vents. It makes this version look way more aggressive than the Gen 1, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's still subdued.
And you said that the diffuser on this is different than on the wing car.
It has different fins, yeah.
But this colour,
if you like green, you have to love this color.
There is one thing that I'm not so keen on. I'm not the biggest fan of gurney flaps. They just look a bit stuck on. But there's a huge benefit to that, isn't there?
Oh yeah. I mean, this is such an elegant car. But as soon as the rear spoiler comes out, this is somehow a little bit aesthetically challenging.
That's diplomatic.
That's my personal opinion. It doesn't extract to the same angle as it did on the first generation. That's why now this gurney flap is for, because we think it just looks more aesthetically correct when it's not so far out.
Okay, so what speed does it come up at? Because before, what was it, like 80 kilometers an hour?
Yeah, now it's about 100.
Is there anything else different? This looks slightly redesigned.
This is a new redesigned grille, which is luckily, I think, 200 grams lighter than the one we had in the predecessor Touring version. We have a different brake lie. We don't have these longitudinal ones.
And you said, a bit like the Weissach on the wing car, there's a different package you can get for the Touring, isn't there?
Yeah, we call it Leichtbau package. Yeah, have the choice for magnesium wheels as well that are included in the pack.
Okay.
So they're not an option. We have the carbon fiber interior on the car, the door trim of the ST and of the RS with the door handles made out of carbon fiber. We have an even shorter throw gear lever, the same we know from the ST. We have this carbon fiber elements in the suspension, the rear shear plate and the stabilizer bar, and lots of other goodies that lower the weight by approximately 18 kilos.
So actually then, let's go check this car out on the inside. Big thing that people have been worried about, the dash.
We spent extra hours in evening and nights trying to figure out the best perfect setup for a digital dash that is GT3 worthy. But we ended up with a very, very good solution. I like it a lot, and it's my honest opinion, I like it better than the old one.
Really?
The colors are beautiful. It's all this yellowish GT3 bespoke look. So we have only 3 different dashes. There's a signature dash.
Track view, yes, that's right.
Everything you need here. One gimmick that I have to show you is now you can rotate the view of the tag to the old school 9,000 or top RPM is at 12 o'clock.
See, I quite like that, but I've noticed that I'm missing the dual shift-up lights on the side. It's just
You have
on this
one
side.
shift-up light, it's bigger, but on that normal vision, you have it on both sides like we used to have it on the first gen. And another feature that we have incorporated here is the tire temperature, which I think is very important.
So didn't you have that on the
On
previous
the
gen?
RS, but not on the predecessor GT3. And we got another signature screen, as we call it, so you can't modify that. That's as it is.
That looks quite nice.
And then we got the screen, which consists of 3 dials that you can modify.
Now, one of the things that people were also worried about, push button start, but ta-da,
We have a rotary switch. Yeah, we carried that over from the last generation. The whole team was with that.
Same with like the 6-speed gearbox, because obviously you don't have the 7-speed, you have 6-speed manuals in GT
six
cars.
gears are enough, and the 7th can be confusing when you're on a track or when you're really driving very, very fast.
So the throw is like in the ST, yeah?
If you choose the Weissach package, you get the throw of the ST. This is 10 millimeters longer. This
Right.
is the throw we had in the Touring.
Okay, so the throw in the Touring is longer than in the Weissach manual wing car.
Exactly.
Why?
And why? Because it's just another ST feature that befits the
Okay.
package. we thought.
Right, so that's marketing then, Andreas, isn't it? It's just like keeping them a bit separate.
Marketing is an important thing as well, and
Okay.
I don't object too much.
There is one button that I see here that I haven't seen before. Assist.
We made a little bit of a shortcut here. If you press the assist, there's a menu coming
Yep.
up, and you just swipe over all this necessary for homologation, assistance system, and then they're gone.
And you don't have this on the standard 911.
No.
There's one thing I want to show you as we get into the GT3 with the Weissach pack. It is this, the puddle lighting of the Weissach proving ground. And it's the first time you've had that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's completed with the Weissach package.
Yeah, it's quite cool, that is. Let's just quickly jump in. This, obviously, being the Weissach, you get the race text on the dash.
The Weissach dash, you get the carbon fiber roll cage.
Right, that's the first time on a GT3 you could have a carbon
Absolutely,
fiber
like
roll
the
cage.
Weissach package in general. You have the trim in carbon fiber, that we just saw on the Touring in brushed aluminum. You got the door handles in carbon fiber. You got this netting here, so it's a lightweight thing. Yeah, that's it about the interior. The rest is on the exterior and on the underbody.
Now we need to talk about the slightly awkward thing to do with pricing, and that's why Andreas isn't here. So the car starts from £158,000, which is a £30,000 increase over the previous generation car. Now, if you go for the Weissach pack on the wing car, it's going to cost you about £16,000. But if you want that carbon fiber roll cage, it's an extra £4,000 on top. If you want the lightweight package on the Touring, it's getting on for £30,000 extra. Now, let's just wrap up with some quickfire questions with Andreas. Back seats or no back seats?
Back seats.
Manual or PDK?
Manual.
Stickers or no stickers?
No stickers.
Roll cage or no cage?
No roll cage.
Black or GT silver?
Black.
Bare carbon or painted components?
Painted components.
Race bucket seats or electric sport seats?
Buckets.
ST or R?
ST.
Okay, listen, thank you very much, Andreas, for showing us around the car.
You're so welcome.
And for playing along and answering all those questions. Listen, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. If you want to watch some other videos, click on the video windows. And if you click on the CarWow logo, you can go to CarWow to see how much you can save on your next car. Thanks for watching.